My name is Alex Berman, and you're watching Selling Breakdowns. Joe Rogan is a stand-up comic and MC and the host of the staggeringly successful podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience.
Like, how many years ago was it that you guys came on last?
3 years.
2013.
So that was, we were getting probably like 4 million downloads a month.
Probably triple that now, I'd say.
At least.
From what it was 3 years ago.
At least triple.
Today, we're going to delve into his interview style and how his singular way of posing a question has catapulted the Joe Rogan Experience into the history books as one of the most successful and profitable podcasts of all time. One of the keys to Rogan's popularity is that he allows himself to be interviewed at the same time he's conditioning his guests.
When I was interviewing that dude, like I'll start welling up right now. When I was interviewing him, after that fight, I was like, that guy just emptied out. I mean, emptied out. His whole soul. I mean, he took a fucking beating. In reality, Rogan's a conversationalist rather than a typical interviewer. I don't interview anybody. I'm not interviewing you, am I?
Nope.
I'm not an interviewer. I suck at that. I've kind of interviewed Ron Miscavige yesterday. I talk to people, and I record it. That's it. Maybe it's his years of training in the subtleties of martial arts, or maybe he just has a gift for it. Either way, he's skilled at breaking down the defenses of his subject in a nearly undetectable way. It's easy to be taken in by Rogan's self-declared ignorance, but again, in reality, you're dealing with a dedicated host that knows how to elicit a reaction. Today, we're going to break down a few of the long-standing interview tactics that Rogan's managed to weave into his most successful interviews. Columbia School of Journalism's laid out the following. See if you can pick out the way that Rogan is able to slide these fundamental principles into his conversations. I would love to play you the dinosaurs are not real video. He's talking to Trevor Vail, paleontologist and assistant lab supervisor for the La Brea Tar Pits. Vail is incredibly passionate about his work and actually gained some notoriety in a Twitter war with pop star Kesha when she supposedly dirtied an exhibit he'd painstakingly restored. As you'll see, Rogan does his research and he's a master at finding people's hot buttons.
Don't bring your flat earth bullshit into my profession. Now I'm pissed.
Well, keep going.
Yeah, keep this rolling.
While Rogan's known in some circles as a conspiracy theorist himself, he takes a lot of pleasure in debunking counterculture science, and he's brilliant at finding guests that will relate well to his audience.
By teams of evolutionist archaeologists purposely out looking to find such fossils.
I'm glad I brought a lot of beer.
And it is even more dubious that such fossils have supposedly existed for millions of years.
As you become familiar with Rogan's style, you'll begin to realize that he rarely asks a direct question. He doesn't have to. He's done his research and knows a few carefully placed words will easily direct most of his guests.
Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo together on episode 911.
His subject, Alex Jones, is a known conspiracy theorist. Rogan's effort to give Jones episode 911 is a nod to one of Jones' most popular theories regarding the World Trade Center bombings on September 11th. You'll notice Jones' immediate sense of reciprocity. He's flattered and eager to please.
Well, let me just say, I'm very envious because I'm in my studio under bright lights, and I've talked about going back to when I was just on radio, that darkness we can really think. This is a wonderful studio.
We should mention here that this interview gets a little inflammatory. Jones is beyond controversial, and this episode ended up with 4.5 million views in its first few weeks on YouTube. Rogan even got a little backlash for it.
Why does he legitimize quacks like Alex Jones? It creates a false equivalence problem.
Oh, no.
Why does he interview so many bad faith actors like Alex Jones?
This is a brief clip of the conversation as Jones starts to devolve.
Let me tell you.
Oh, shit. We shouldn't have let him smoke weed.
There's a huge war going on. It's beautiful. We are kicking their ass on every front.
And yet nobody's investigating? What's going on here?
This is what Hitler freaked out about and picked up.
What does that mean?
Stop Trump. He's the devil. Stop him. Anything we've got, stop him.
What? You're just making things up.
Oh, I have to wear these headphones?
No.
Rogan later made this comment.
Alex Jones has been my friend for 20 years. He's crazy.
Rogan also added,
He doesn't give a
Really?
They asked him a
About his
question about his
custody
kid.
battle?
They asked him a question about his kid. He couldn't remember. He goes, I'm sorry, I had a large bowl of chili for lunch today. I can't remember. He's crazy.
Here, Rogan's discussing champion UFC fighter John Jones' decision to flee the scene of an accident during his difficult battle with substance abuse.
But give me the thought, like, probably the most I was disappointed in you, and I love you as a person. I think you're a great guy.
I love you too, Joe. Thanks.
I really do. I've always had a good time hanging out with you. But I was very disappointed with you with that car accident thing.
Yeah.
When you ran away from that car accident.
Yeah.
That to me was like, God damn, John's in a bad place.
Yeah, it was. I was in a bad place. It was a.
Rogan never asked a question. His simple statement starts Jones on a deep and personal explanation about the accident.
And I think I just took everything that I had for granted because everything for the majority of my career has gone my way.
Was Rogan always this skilled at quickly pulling out information?
Yeah.
Alternative historian Graham Hancock is a favorite guest of Rogan's, and during this early interview, Rogan quickly endears himself.
Graham Hancock is probably the one guy who's influenced my view of history more than anybody ever. It's from this book, Fingerprints of the Gods.
While product promotion is a part of most interviews, Rogan is known for going further. Here he transitions Hancock into a comfortable place by mentioning something obscure about his guest's area of expertise.
Of humanity. And one of my favorite terms that you use is that we're a species with hypnosis, or excuse me, with amnesia.
With amnesia, yeah.
Yeah, and that, please tell me, how did all this get cracking? How did this get started for you?
Well,
Hancock perks up with this quote, and it transitions him into a personal take on his journey into alternative history.
It's when all through my childhood, I always felt I was on the edge of things, not in the middle of things. Other people were in the middle. I was on the edge. I just always felt that way.
This conversation is a great place to introduce another of Rogan's successful practices. It's something that's often highlighted in journalism courses, and it can prove to be invaluable. That is, bring a buddy.
Is using the vine as an access point to humanity. Oh, I just lost my thread. How did I get to that?
Well, no, the idea is it comes from the Amazon, which is being destroyed.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That at the very time when
any interviewer or interviewee will struggle to stay on point during a conversation, and having a cohort that understands where and when you can use support is a huge asset. Rogan also plays the gentle mediator during parts of his interviews.
Your instincts obviously were to produce this book and to talk about it very openly and honestly, and to do interviews like this and have discussions like this where you talk about it. And this right now is going to reach 500,000 people. Right. And they're going to consider what you're saying, and they're going to look into it, and they're going to go, "Whoa, do you really think that there's some vine that you can take from the jungle that allows you to communicate with the spirit world?"
He knows that Hancock has a tendency to romanticize his findings, but he also feels the need to express the sense of responsibility that all three men feel on the subject. With the slightest nudging, he's able to get what he needs from the author.
I personally do not believe that psychedelics are appropriate for recreational activity. I think if somebody chooses to do that, that's their body, that's their choice, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. We need to treat these amazing substances with respect.
Research on Leno to know what lights him up in a conversation. He also creates enough rapport to drive out some of Leno's more candid stories. His mention of the contrast of Leno's passion for his work versus his previous frustration spills out into another example of Rogan's ability to elicit a candid response happens throughout his interview with actress Leah Remini. Remini, a former Scientologist, is clearly a guest that has experienced past criticism, and Rogan makes an early effort to reassure her that she's not being judged.
We're live. Got to change subjects.
Okay.
Leah Remini. Got to abandon all that crazy talk we were just talking about.
I thought it was good talk.
It was. It was definitely good talk.
The interview starts with the tail end of a conversation that the two have as Rogan eases Remini into an uncomfortable subject. A short time later, he sensed her hesitation and offered further reassurance.
It's pretty normal.
For a Scientologist, right.
Well, I met John Travolta once, too, and I said the same thing. Like, pretty normal.
Nice guy.
Kelly Preston is pretty normal. Yes. Seems normal.
Yes.
This opens the door for her to delve quickly into the intimate areas of her life that have been a source of shame for her.
Like, I would never tell, when I was in, a non-Scientologist my real problems. It would be kind of bad for the church.
As Rogan begins to sense her discomfort, he offers a defense that's resonated with her in the past.
Christianity. Mm-hmm. And that word is the correct word, mm-hmm. if you want to just look at it in terms of the actual literal definition of it.
Yeah.
But it's automatically got this negative connotation. You say the word cult, and people think you're brainwashed, you're lost. But
right.
This isn't a disingenuous comment either. Rogan's long been an open critic of religion in general, and it's clear that he wants to express that he doesn't hold one belief above another.
There's a natural inclination that people have to be tribal. There's a natural inclination people have to be on a team, and we like it when we're all together.
Yes.
You'll rarely hear Joe Rogan boast unnecessarily about his own successes, and you may find, like we did during the making of this video, that he tends to offer a sincere and consistent philosophy when it comes to human interaction. Want to learn more about business theory and pop culture? Be sure to like and subscribe to be notified of our next segment.